Hi, my name is Tyson Adams. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to do a little update video on the eliteFTS, a leg extension and leg curl machine. I've had this machine for about 2 months now and have been using it about twice a week on average, and I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with the effect it's having on my legs in general. And I have some issues with my left knee, which this allows me to do a little bit of focused work on my quads and hamstrings. And I feel like it's been pretty useful. And I've learned some things about this machine over the course of the last couple of months. And I'm just now starting to play with some of its versatility. So first of all, I want to talk about the machine and how it's constructed. It's really solid. It's actually very heavy. It's much larger than it looks in a video. If you see me getting on and off of it, you will see that I actually put a Rep Fitness plyo box, any plyo box will do, but the small plyo box next to the machine so that I can easily get on and off of it. I'm using some kilo plates that I had lying around that I wasn't using as my weight for this, and I'm using the eliteFTS mini bands for added sort of dynamic resistance. Now there's a few things that I've learned about this machine over the past 2 months, which I find interesting. First of all, there's different ways you can set up these bands, okay? You can set up the bands so that they either go under completely like this, right? So that both of them, even both of them, or one or just the other. And what that does is, as soon as this, the trolley or whatever you want to call it, starts moving, the tension starts increasing, okay? Now, and it starts increasing sort of like 1-to-1 for the lengthening of the band. Or you can leave them not completely under, but you can leave them more with one side under the pin and one side over. And what this does is it reduces the rate at which the bands increase in tension, because one of them is increasing in length slightly and the other one is increasing in length, at a higher rate, right? So you're making it sort of more into a triangle rather than into a straight line. And so you get some reduced rate at which the tension increases. Now there's another thing going on here though, and that is the angle from the hinge here to where the weight sits on the pin. And depending on how far out the pin the weight sits, you can actually change the weight or the force against either one of these pads at a different point in the range of movement of the trolley. So what I mean by this, and this is the reason why I've picked up these are basically specialty bar collars, because that's what fits the pin of this machine. And you can get these from pretty much any collar manufacturers. These are Rogues, and these are really nice. They're aluminum. They're gonna last forever. I try and buy one thing that will last forever. I don't think I'll ever have to replace these. Now, basically, you can move this collar and therefore move the weights, okay? Now, if you think about what that does, that means that the angle, the distance from this pivot point to where the weight is shorter, right? That lever arm is shorter. And therefore, at the very bottom of the movement, there is less weight, okay? Now, if you lengthen the distance from this pin to where the weight sits by moving the weight out some distance, whatever distance you want, and then putting your collar at that point, now you've started to load the bottom range of the movement, when either the knees are bent as far as they're going to be when you're doing leg extensions, or when the legs are straight as far as straight as they're going to be when doing leg curls. And so this, I think this is useful. The one thing that it does is the maximal effort is actually when the weights are, and I'll demonstrate this, excuse me, when the weight is exactly horizontal to the pivot point. That is the maximal amount of weight, right? Not at lockout necessarily. So that's just based on the weight, okay? Then you have the bands on top of that, right? So if you set your bands correctly, you can either have them still the most forceful at the top of the lift, right? When you've either in the leg curl bent your knees as much as possible, or in the leg extensions straightened your legs as much as possible. It will still be the maximal tension for the band, but you can increase the rate at which that increases by putting one of the bands under, or both of them, or one under and one partially, as demonstrated here. So in terms of adjustment, so that would be one is under completely and one is partially under, or both are completely under, or both are partially under, right? Or even, God forbid, none of them under, which is still going to increase tension as you go towards the top of the movement. So at any rate, I've learned a lot about this thing. I still think it's an amazing piece of equipment. I'm really glad I purchased it, and the more I use it, the more I like it. So those are my comments on the eliteFTS leg extension and leg curl machine. How I'm using it, how I adjust it, the things that I've learned about it. And I suspect that I will learn more about what adjustments of this may work best for me. And I would suspect that I would not be able to necessarily tell you how to use it, but if you play around with it, you probably will figure out a way that you will like using it, or I hope you would. I think it's a great accessory movement for legs, and you can't go wrong with adding some kind of movement like this, which of course does not need to be this machine. It could be banded exercises. It could be the monkey foot, something like that that's not too expensive, that allows you to do some sort of leg extension or leg curl machine, or leg curl, or emulate it. But this is a great one. I'm really glad I got it. So if you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. I will try and put up more commentary about the equipment I have, what I think about it, and how I use it. All right, take care.